When we learn about adding with decimals, we are going to take a basic review on just adding multiple digit numbers and realize that the process is pretty much exactly the same. So, step one, we line up the place values. So for the problem I have to the right, I'm going to write my larger number on top. You do not have to, that is just typical practice. And I'm going to make sure I line up my place values. The 7 and the 9 are both in the ones, and the 3, which is worth 30, and this 7, which is worth 70, are in the tens, and I have no hundreds. Step 2, you start with the smallest place value. So instead of saying we start with the ones, that doesn't always work. We start in the smallest place value, which in this case is the ones. 7 plus 9 is 16, and here we have step 3, carry amounts over 9 to the next column. So 16, the tens carries to the next. 3 plus 7 plus 1 is 11. So again, I am carrying. And then I get 3 for an answer of 316. Now, it might not be something that you always do when you're adding whole numbers. It's something we should do, but it's something that I'm going to show you how useful it is when you are adding with decimals. So I'm going to add a step 4. Does it make sense? We are going to quickly check, does our answer make sense? And we do that with an estimation. So I could just quickly do 200 plus 80 equals 280. And my answer is relatively close to 280. And you're going to see how powerful this is when we're doing adding decimals. So I'm going to create a new problem. And for this problem, we will solve 31.6, or 31 6/10, plus 2 and 81 hundredths, 2.81. So the first thing I'm going to do is line up my place values. I'll start with my larger number. Again, you do not have to. So here, our place values might be a little bit different, but actually the decimal point can be very powerful and it can be very helpful. As long as you align your decimal point, your place values should easily fall in line. So there's my decimal for 2.81, and I place my 2 to the left. The ones is always to the left of the decimal, and you notice that my 1 and my 2 are lined up in the ones place. Then I will write the 8, which is next to the decimal point on the right, which aligns my tenths place. The 6 and the 8 are both in the tenths, and then the 1 is in the hundredths place. So this is the only thing that could be different about adding with decimals. You'll see on the right side, out here, we have a number on the bottom, but we don't have a number on the top. We're used to that being the opposite on the left side, where the larger digit might have an extra larger place value. But in the same case, you follow the same process. We can pretend there's a 0 there. There is a 0 there. If you want to write it in, that's fine. If you don't want to write it in, it's not necessary. 0 plus 1 is 1. 6 plus 8 is 14. I carry over. The decimal point is not blocking any carrying. It's the same process. 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 4. And we drop our 3 plus 0. And that decimal point should fall right in line. But before I put it in there, I'm just going to make sure that my answer would make sense. And this is very, very important with your decimals. So before you place that decimal in your answer, you have to ask yourself, does it make sense? So I do that with a quick estimate. 31.6, I'm going to make that 30. Plus 2.81, that is very close to the whole number of 3, and I get 33. So you're going to see that if we place our decimal point where it belongs, our answer absolutely makes sense, 34.41. If we were to place that anywhere else, here, we would have 3.441, way off from the number 33. And if we were to place it out here, we would have an answer of 344.1. Again, way off from the answer or estimate of 33. So it's the only place that makes sense. And like I said, it should drop there, but you always need to check, does it make sense? And that is going to be one of our big themes for the rest of the year. So you can see that our process isn't any different than adding with whole numbers. We are just taking one extra step to check our answer makes sense.